Transmitting from the Mojave Wilderness in Joshua Tree, California. Now is the time for Desert Oracle Radio, the voice of the desert.
Well, night has fallen on the desert. Good evening to you all. On this desert evening, it's getting darker earlier, and as soon as it gets dark, even if you've been wandering around, you start seeing people come into the light like moths. Start moving in around the fire, around the bar. Nobody wants to get left out there. You don't want to be the last one out on a desert night. Strange things can happen. So welcome to the program. Welcome to Desert Oracle Radio live on stage from this place where most of our shows are recorded and broadcast, that being Joshua Tree, California. A weird and occasionally frightening place. A wilderness with a little bit of a town inside. One bar, a former Circle K. And it's a place that has somehow become fairly popular these last couple of years. And we don't mind. We don't mind that much. Catch us in the right mood. We like to make light of the situation, the 3 million visitors, not being able to get a pizza or a seat at the bar. But truth be told, most of us would prefer this situation where people are coming out here to shoot pictures than the old situation from a few years back, when people came out here to shoot their machine guns into anything that wasn't nailed down. Everybody thought you could come out and do in the desert whatever you liked, without consequence. Like you could start a business, you could get into business for yourself, you could start a meth lab. And a long time ago, I had a friend in a band down in San Diego, and they got a little money from a record advance from Rhino Records. And I was having lunch with this character, the late Buddy Blue, and he says, "I'm not just going to throw this money away. I'm going to invest it." I said, "It's very responsible for a guy who often sleeps in his car behind the bar after the show." And he said, "Yeah, I got some friends and we're thinking about going in together on a meth lab in the desert." It's not exactly a 401k plan, but they don't really offer 401k plans to musicians most of the time. So for right now, that's not the scene, but who knows what's going to happen next? Who knows what's going to happen after the next depression, the next war, the space invasion, the demonic arrival, the asteroid, whatever it is, who knows? But there is something important out here. Out here, in here, and I can never quite figure out what it is. I wind up sort of walking around, sort of seeing it out of the corner of my eye, like a quail or a lizard in a bush, or some snake or kangaroo rat that you just kind of barely catch and then it's gone. And it's a weird thing to think about, but if you're in a certain kind of work, which I happen to be in, you think about it all the time. Is there a way to do this kind of work and give it some deeper meaning, some deeper purpose? And if so, what is it? Where is it? It's here, but where? And it's outside of politics, it's outside of religion, it's outside of science. But it's a lot of all of that, too. And this part with the microphone, with the strange and eerie sounds rising up around us, ultimately that's just entertainment. Whatever you do on a stage or in a book or on a podcast or on tape, on a canvas, add religion and you get a tax deduction. Add politics and you get a nightmare. Add late capitalism and you get a disaster. So what is this? What is it all? What do we make of it? Well, we try to make it fun. Try to make it a little bit educational, not too much. That's about the best I can do, being a fairly uneducated, kind of half hillbilly, Cajun, half something else. The third half, that's the half you always have to worry about. Or request. You can say, I don't ask for much. Just the third half, if possible. So, what are we doing here? We want a night out. We deserve a night out. We deserve a little fun now and then. And it's a good feeling driving up this road, up this hill. More Joshua trees as you gain elevation. A darker sky, more animals out. Owls swooping over Quail Springs, Mojave cottontails, those big lean jackrabbits. Some bighorn now and then, the mule deer like a little bit more growth on the ground. I don't see them quite as much. I used to see them often when I lived up by Black Rock Canyon. It's more wooded there. Joshua tree woodland, a little thicker. On my afternoon walk. One time I was just sitting there against a juniper in the shade. And maybe 10 feet away in the tall grass between another couple of junipers, I see them. 3 black-tailed mule deer. But memory is not reliable. I was thinking about this today. And it was only 6 or 7 years ago. And I thought I remembered it clearly. And now I can't remember the details. There was a young mule deer, a smaller one. And I can't remember the rest. They were there, it's just a glimmer. I remember the stillness and the eyes, 3 sets of eyes. Staring at me. I think. 3 sets of eyes. Then they probably bolted off after a while. I moved or sneezed or breathed too loud. I should remember all of that and not the lyrics to a song I don't like that they were playing at the gas station. You're ever standing at the gas station pump and there's some song playing and you get mad at yourself because you know the words and it's a song you don't even like. I was at the gas station in Joshua Tree and I was watching people get declined at the pump. You ever see that? That's not fun. And there was a song playing very loud, and it was a song being sung by a celebrity, and the celebrity was complaining that people were talking about the celebrity on social media. And it really did seem inappropriate in that setting, of all the things, you know. What do you remember from your early years? I wish I remembered more of my early years and less of the song at the gas station. less of the many decades in between. Well, night has fallen on the desert, and it's the desert we are in. We're right here at Furstwurld in Joshua Tree for the first time. I was telling Bobby earlier tonight, and thank you, Bobby, for having us. I've come here now and then over the years, and I think from the first time I came in here, I thought, this would be a good place to do something if I could, make up some deal. And it took a while. It's a secret, this place, and we're all in on it. And everybody here knows the secret, and I better not say anything more about it, because this is going to go on the radio. That road you came in on, winding and twisting through the south side of Joshua Tree, it gets tricky real quick. First, you're rolling up from town, downtown Joshua Tree, as we call it, charitably, charmingly, I mean. See charming Joshua Tree Village. And then you're coming up the road, and all of a sudden the RV America campers and the two-wheel drive SUVs are screeching and tilting, and the road is twisting up and down the foothills, across the sandy washes, past the real estate signs, the mailboxes, the regular houses, the comfortable old cabins, and whatever's being built up here, built up before the bottom falls out, before the inevitable real estate cycle. Now this is a local crowd, and I'm looking around and I just saw a bunch of people get visibly nervous. Uncomfortable, checking their phones, texting their brokers. Listen, this guy's kind of a nut, but what if he knows something? There are people like that from time to time. Well, I was driving over to park the car by the gate and take my usual walk up in Section 6 and Section 5. About the only usual thing in my life. And I was on the way, and on the opposite side of the road, just some sand and some creosote, cat claw. Now, there was a big coyote all bloodied up and in its death throes on the side of the road. I say him because I think I recognized him once I thought about it. Is this big male, and he had what looked like kind of like a Viking fur coat over his shoulders, on his back, a warrior, a leader of that coyote family. The one I see or saw most days walking back there, either they'd be crossing the road, or they'd be crossing Onaga, or they'd be somewhere up in Section 5, or headed down the Coyote Hole. The name is not a joke. There's water there some of the time. Park water, anyway. You get used to a mouthful of sand when you're a coyote. A little water with your sand. Well, I don't like seeing such things. We get used to seeing roadkill. We call it roadkill, even though it's actually car or truck kill. Blame the road. But you get used to seeing animals that are already dead. It's a very different thing to see one that's still alive. And the animal is still alive, and then there's a smaller coyote frantically at its side, trying to do something, licking the muzzle in its saw for a second. The big one who is about to die but not quite yet. And I thought maybe it was his mate. I did not get a good enough look, because I looked away, because it's horrible. And it's a horrible thing to see. But just for a second, it looked like she was trying to drag him to safety. She kind of grabbed at the scruff of the neck like you do with the pups. Off the road, away from the cars. If I drove around with a gun, I guess I would have pulled over and put the coyote out of its misery. Taking a deep breath. But I don't, so I did not. And when I drove back that way yesterday, when I was coming up here to set up, the coyote was still there, dead on the side of the road. Alone this time, of course. The spirit had left the body, the beast. I heard the rest of the pack howling a day or so later on another evening walk. And I guess the howling sounded like it always sounds, and I just imagined that it sounded different. Like it was mournful. Like it was missing a voice on the low end. And the cold part of you says, well, our own state and federal governments slaughter hundreds, thousands of coyotes a year. Year after year, they stack them up in the backs of pickup trucks and stand there like idiots grinning. And counties pay bounties to this day on coyotes. So it's just one coyote, you know. But how much can you worry about one? Just because you happen to be familiar with it. So that night I'm in the saloon, I'm telling somebody the story. Some wise ass next to me says, that coyote would kill you in a minute. And, you know, first of all, no. I think there might be a handful of coyote incidents with humans in recorded history. And coyotes hunt what they eat. Like Ted Nugent. Kangaroo rats, jackrabbits, bunnies. Well, mesquite pods, they get a lot of protein from mesquite pods. But they don't really bother us. And they are a delight to the eyes, to the ears. Then you have house cats who will start eating you within a few hours of you perishing. Because house cats have lived too long with people. They've lost their morals. Move over here to the office. This year's Highway 62 Open Studio Art Tours, there's been a new catalog put out. I'm gonna have it here. Here we go. Right here. And as the art tours comes to an end, I want to remind everybody to pick up a copy of this catalog. You can't have mine. I only have one. But they did it up real nice this year. And because of some sort of misunderstanding with the organization, they wound up putting 3 mysterious advertisements in the catalog. They're kind of menacing, really. There's, here we go. There's this one, which says, no, that's not one. Have you seen the Yucca Man? Please report your experience to our trained psychic detectives. Help us help you. Then there's a phone number, 951-922-5218. And if you call that number, well, you get this public service announcement that's like this. Hello, Yucca Man Hotline. Do you have something horrible to report? I can't hear you. Can you please scream a little louder? Listen, all the psychic investigators are over at the hospital. We had sort of an incident. Are you doing the art tours up in the high desert? I'm sorry, this line's bad. Cell service is very unreliable in the high desert, so most people don't bother. See all those wooden poles on the dirt roads? Those carry something called landlines, meaning an actual physical length of wire goes to each little cabin, or shack, or trailer, or Airbnb, or underground bunker, whatever people have, whatever happens to be there. But if it doesn't work in the car, well then what are you going to do? That's the trouble. Are you still there? Look, I can't hear you. Let me just read the information card. It should answer your concerns, or at least address your concerns. The organization tries to update this information every year, but honestly, the card always says the same thing. Yucca Man is our version of Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, whatever you want to call it. They are not physical creatures in the sense of being a sort of animal that exists here in this time, in this dimension, in this world, in this current reality we seem to occupy, the same way as a jackrabbit or a coyote or a tortoise or a tarantula or a Mojave rattlesnake. You understand this about Yucca Man, right? But it doesn't mean it's not real. It's entirely real. It's a monster. And if you know your Latin, you know a monster is an apparition, and it demonstrates itself at the time and place of its choosing. None of us know when, none of us knows the day, nor the hour. Monsters are generally bound to a place or a region, and when the Yucca Man or the Desert Sasquatch or the Cement Factory Monster, or whatever you want to call it, appears, it is physically real. The whole immense, hairy, sulfur-smelling, 8-foot-tall, clawed monstrosity with glowing red eyes, eyes like fire. Like when you're looking at the campfire for too long. Maybe you had too much of whatever they're passing around, and suddenly you start seeing eyes in the campfire. And you're thinking, well, doesn't the devil always smell of sulfur in the Bible or whatever? Yeah, that's the case. That's what we're talking about. You really got to watch yourself out here. Just be careful. Don't eat babies or cigarettes or tacos or donuts in your vehicle. You don't want to attract them. That's the kind of thing they go for. You know what I mean? Don't sleep in your car. Don't sleep in your tent. You get the picture? Enjoy your art tour and good luck. You'll need it. If you want more information, I can't help you, but you can look this up on your phone, assuming you get a better signal. Tales of the Yucca Man, the known unknown. That's all we know. I mean, we don't really know anything about it. And that's that's the first one. So they put 3 of these hats in this thing. Can you imagine visitors driving around? Oh, what the hell is this? Should we call? So they call. The second one says, worried about aliens, harassed by odd entities? Stop living in fear. Investigators are standing by. Make this free call now. And then you're encouraged to call this number, 760-820-9543. And then you get something like this. Should you make the error in judgment of calling these numbers out of the art catalog? I don't think anybody really calls them. But maybe you should call after the show. Even though you already know what's going to be on it. Like, make the call and just hand the phone to somebody else. It's for you. And do it like in the parking lot at the visitor center. Hand it to a ranger. So you're calling about aliens, odd entities, and that sort of thing. I understand. We all understand up here. We've had some pretty good investigators, but they're all working for the military now. Maybe that Space Force, and they're just not on the job anymore. They're AWOL. They've got these underground facilities underneath the Marine Corps base, according to some stories. And listen, it's not safe right now. This is just a message, is what I'm saying. A recorded message because everyone else is dead. In one way or another. Just look around you. Look who's stumbling around the saloon, trying to climb a boulder like an idiot. Trying to get across Highway 62 between 100 camper vans and military convoys, drug addicts, waterheads. Just look around and ask yourself, are any of these people actually alive? How could you tell? Are they operational? That's the question, the issue at hand. Is any of this operational? It's been about 70 years since George Van Tassel started talking to the Space Brothers, the aliens, whatever they are. The tall Nordic aliens, he said. They're like that comic book movie with Thor and Odin and all that. They're real. They come down sometimes out of air and electricity and plasma. And they come down and lie to people. Fill their heads with all sorts of gibberish. Space Brothers, the new time, the new era. Don't believe it. Maintain a safe distance. Maintain your dignity. What did you see in the sky? Now, if you call the sheriff, they won't even answer the phone. They're out to lunch. They're about to replace them all with robots. It's a budget measure. Mechanical simulations, no pension plans. It's still very low budget. Nothing works. You know it, and that's why you're out here. Oh, you're going to meet some artists, are you? Good luck with that. Like that's going to change anything. Well, maybe it will. There is a sort of power to art. Good art, anyway, sometimes. And sometimes what doesn't make sense, like everything happening around us all the time, this stew of swirling sewage we call 2019. Sometimes what doesn't make sense can almost make sense when viewed through the lens of inspired art. Maybe you'll bring something home. Don't forget to tip your server. Well, that's what they told me to say anyway. You go off script and there's a knock at the door in the night. You know how it goes. So this is the end of the message, and well, we'll tell you just a little bit more since you stayed on so long. We are sort of in a bind out here, and we need a little help. We need you to keep your eyes and ears open. Now, at one of these art studios you stop at today, there's going to be a person who says to you these words, see you around. And don't act like a fool, just do what I say. When they say, see you around, you say, illumination is the light of wisdom on a world darkened by sin. You got it? there's one more display ad, but that one I want you to call yourself because that one relates to what we're doing here tonight. Those little lands were supposed to be Easter eggs in the catalog. In the words of Bill Green, who was running the operation, came up with the idea. I just want to say to Bill Green, if he's listening, there are no Easter eggs at Halloween. Those are jack-o'-lanterns. So, pay close attention to that last one. Because the last one says we're seeking people who have had extraordinary experiences. We want them to call into the program, call into Desert Oracle Radio. And that's what I want to do right now. You all are here. You all have had strange experiences, most certainly. Maybe you've had so many that you don't even know they're strange anymore. That ever happen? Like people visit from out of town? And you're just going about your routine? Pulling cholla spines out of your ankles? Scooping up rattlesnakes into rubber garbage cans and driving 8 miles to let them off on a BLM land? I think that's legal, I'm not sure. It's cheaper than calling the snake guy out of the back of the newspaper. If you haven't already, we have a podcast, and you can subscribe to it. It's a version of the radio show that we do down in Joshua Tree on Z107. But now we're going to do something we can't do on the radio, and that's pluck human beings out of an audience of innocence, more or less. And we're going to take your calls. Where's Stephanie? Was Stephanie Tiza the last one out when it got dark? Thank God it wasn't you tonight. There's one every night. Who would like to come up and try our vintage haunted payphone and tell Desert Oracle about your weird experiences? Oh, it could be anything. Did you see a UFO? Did you see the UFO 2 weeks ago over 29 Palms over the national park? It was over the Del Taco a week later, between the Del Taco and the Marriott. Have you had weird creatures hanging around your home? Have you had strange experiences with trapdoors in your cabin? Did you, like a resident of North Joshua Tree, ever leave your car in somebody else's garage and forget where? And then go to the newspaper to ask? Jay Babcock told me that story the other day. They still haven't found the car. It's a Jaguar. I think we have a caller. Welcome to Desert Oracle Radio. Who do we have on the line? Turn your radio down, sir. There we go. Do we have you now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Who is this?
My name is Gabriel Hart from Morongo Valley, California.
All the way from Morongo Valley. That's a long way. That's about as far away as you can go and still be in the high desert. What's on your mind tonight? You've had something inexplicable happen, is the idea, the gist of it.
Yeah, extremely inexplicable. And I'd like the audience's help with this if possible. I was hiking the other day. You know where Devil's Garden is?
I do. I want you to explain for...
Devil's Garden is right at the bottom of the 62. So if you're going, you're going right up then we're on the grade, you look to the left, you gotta have...
Nobody asks you for directions, do they?
Anyway, it's a sort of torture course. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it, so yeah, why would I tell you where it was? But I was hiking there the other day and I saw a really peculiar thing, or group of things. I need everyone's help to tell me what you could possibly do with this assemblage. Right in a pile, I saw a pair of binoculars, a bottle of pop-pop vodka, a butane lighter, and a bottle of lubriderm lotion.
A bottle of lubriderm lotion?
And I just couldn't figure out what anyone could possibly be doing with this floor. In the middle of nowhere.
Now, were they arranged?
They maybe, now that I think about it, maybe like a northeast, southwest kind of arrangement.
Did you know any like metal lyrics from the 80s written on a nearby rock or anything?
There wasn't any rocks, no. There was just, well, you do something with a certain kind of rock with a butane lighter. You know what I'm talking about.
Well, it's true, but we don't want to go casting aspersions to everybody with a butane lighter in their pocket, not this year. Well, if I worked for the sheriff's department, the first thing I would say is satanic cult.
That was my first.
If I was a trail maintenance employee, I think I would probably say day pack accident.
I'd have to agree.
But you can't, and in fact you never should, especially if you're listening to this program, rule out the occult. Did you take any of the items home, or did you leave them there?
Well, I did need a lighter. I did need to take the
You took the lighter. Yeah.
I had some rocks.
I think we're going to get to the bottom of this, and I think it's going to be a process of elimination. So I'm wondering if next time you go back, if you could take one more thing, and then call in, or a postcard is fine. And then at the end of all four objects, I think we'll kind of have it solved.
I was feeling a little ashy today, so
Yeah.
I'll have to be the bottle of lotion.
Okay, I would do it. You know, in Phoenix, Arizona, they keep the skin lotion locked up, like prescription drugs. This is true. You go to a Rite Aid or something, it's in a cage with locks on it. I get a little hand lotion. Skin's a little dry. It's 120. You know what I mean? Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I do think we need all the items ultimately, but one at a time.
Yes.
Thanks to Gabe for doing this.
Thank you, Captain.
Don't you have a book coming out?
Yeah. It would come out this year, and then Space Cowboy's putting out my next one sometime.
Space Cowboy books. They don't just sell used Philip K. Dick books. They make their own books. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Stephanie, we have another caller on the line. Hi there. Who do we have the pleasure of speaking to tonight on Desert Oracle Radio?
Hi, I'm Lauren.
You look familiar.
Yes.
You were in the musical act earlier.
I was.
And
yeah, I was singing and I didn't expect to be talking,
but it turns out, as often happens with everybody who walks through these roller doors, that you were not immune to having strange situations, and you had something you wanted to tell us about that happened.
yeah, I've had a few experiences in my life
What's the good one? What's the big one?
So, my big one was New Year's Eve 2013. I was in Lake Hollywood, California, which is in Hollywood. And I was at a New Year's party that was Egyptian themed.
Egyptian. How do
I
you?
have to put that in there.
People were mummies or
What?
like did they dress as mummies?
Yeah, there were mummies, Cleopatra. I wasn't dressed up, but I was there.
Is it common around Lake Hollywood to have dress up New
Yeah.
Year's parties?
I don't know, probably. I think
What
so.
what were you?
I was just like that. I was dressed up. I didn't know it was a theme.
Was it a surprise Egyptian theme party?
I just didn't get the memo, you know?
There is a dense amount of literature connecting Egyptian themes and design and imagery and stuff with the UFO phenomenon.
Yeah, so I knew this, but I never seen any sort of UFOs or anything in my life. I wasn't even thinking about it that much, but I was at this party and I was standing outside with about 5 people. Everyone was smoking, and we could see the Hollywood sign, which was right there. Literally, like, it felt like you could touch it. And all of a sudden, this little ball of light appeared that looked like it was on the mountain. So we were all just kind of looking at it, and I was like, that looks like a weird little ball of light. And everyone was just watching it, and it just slowly kind of floated up the side of the mountain. I said to everyone, that's a UFO. But everyone looked at me like I was crazy, which is fine. Don't you need to get that?
I'm gonna let that ring.
All right. So anyway, we watch it go up, and I was like, well, maybe it's a motorcycle. I don't know what it is. There's no vehicles on the Hollywood sign, but whatever. We watched the orb go up to the top of the mountain, and then keep going up into the sky till it just disappeared into a tiny little dot. So then I looked at everyone and was like, it's a UFO. It's a UFO. And everyone was kind of like, yeah, could have been a UFO. Whatever. That's part 1. So part 2 is, for some reason, I was with 4 people. They wanted to leave at 5 to midnight. I don't know why.
Beat traffic.
Yeah, we were going somewhere else. Fine. I was like, okay, let's go. Go outside, get our car, get in the car, go down the street, make a right, make another right, and there's a dead-end street. And I look up at the top of the street, and I see, once again, like it's right there, 4 or 5 orbs hovering. So we pull over, 4 of us.
No, everybody saw this at
We
this
all
point.
saw it. I was like, ah! I basically screamed and told them to pull over. So 3 of us got out of the car. 1 was 2. He was angry about it. He didn't want to be a part of it. We got out, and we were just like underneath looking at it.
How close was this to you?
It was close enough to where it seemed like in between where a helicopter would, higher than a helicopter, lower than a plane, but really higher than a helicopter, and hovering. So we watched it for about 5 minutes as it changed shape. The orbs went into different formations.
What formations? What do they do?
Kind of looked like a triangle with like 2 dot, 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 dot. And it would turn around and be facing upwards, another triangle. Then it would spin around again and be something else geometric. It always looked geometric. And then we watched them all disappear again. So like, they burnt out until they were gone. And it had a giant impact on my life.
Did it feel like you were watching something intelligent?
Yes, absolutely. I felt like they were as aware of us as we were of them. It was balls of energy. I don't know what it was. It was unidentified to me.
Did you feel like it was performing some sort of display specifically for that group of people?
It sort of felt like it. It sort of felt like it wanted to be seen.
Except for the guy who got mad.
No, he was not. He would not. He was like, you guys, it's lanterns. You guys are crazy. We were sober. We were not crazy. We saw it. It was not lanterns. Whatever it was moving with intelligence and saw us as much as we saw them. So.
Did you get any sense of communication from it? A sense of anything?
I wasn't scared of it. I wouldn't say I received any telepathic messages from it, but it didn't feel scary. It felt warm and nice and exciting.
Your other witnesses, were they, other than the one guy, were they entranced?
Yes, we were all, one of them was screaming. Two of us were silent, and she was like screaming with excitement. And yeah, we were like, everyone agreed it was a magical moment.
Just some people on the side of the road screaming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and everything was dark. Everyone was asleep except for the party up the street. And literally like 11:57 p.m. we leave. Turn around. It's almost midnight when we see this.
What road was this, if I can ask?
It was right off Mulholland Highway, so which is between Beechwood Canyon and the 101, if you guys know LA.
And it's relatively dark.
Very dark.
Yeah.
It's also suburban-ish feeling up there. There's families. They don't really leave their houses. They go to bed.
The
There's kids,
Manson family.
The Manson.
Did you have the sense that there were humans behind whatever it was you saw?
I would have to, my first instinct is to say no. I haven't thought about that, but no, I didn't think they were humans. And, I, of course, got very obsessed and intrigued by this thing. So the next day I sort of searched all the social medias, which you can do for hashtag UFO sighting, like Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. And I not only found someone who had also seen that one, but I found pictures on Instagram from around the world, different time zones, that had seen something similar to what we had seen, which was 4 or 5 orbs in different formations. I remember one in Spain, I remember one in New York, there was one in Florida, there was one in Peru, of course. So it was kind of like they were presenting themselves, it seemed.
It was a small wave.
Small hello. Like,
Small
we are
hello,
here,
yes.
and if you're ready to see us, maybe you're ready to see us. He
Yeah.
wasn't. The guy in the car was not ready to see us.
No, I'm sure it's all gone south for him since. It's a strange thing how you react, what your automatic state of mind is upon seeing something that doesn't add up. And what in the ensuing years, what difference do you think is made in your existence and your approach to things? Because people often have even if they didn't receive a message. If you ever go look at the questionnaires that John Mack, Harvard researcher who went rogue, started talking to people about UFOs, he was very interested in the after effects and in the changes in the state of the personality.
Yeah, what it did to me is really kind of change my view of the world. It made me actually think there was more out there than what I had learned. So that was great. It opened my mind. It definitely expanded me in that sense. And also, since then, I have seen multiple similar scenarios. And I'd like to say that if you believe it, once you see it, you can see it again. So I have definitely had, between 10 to 15 cents. Similar orb-like things, mainly, in LA.
Have you been checked for an implant?
No, I don't think, I'm pretty normal, I think.
I think you've become significantly less normal if you checked for an implant. Our friend Jeremy Corbell made a whole movie about people who are convinced that small bits of, boy, I hope Jeremy's not listening, like a little bit of broken off fence or lawnmower blade or whatever under their skin was being marked by E.T.
I mean, if that's fine if that happened to me. Like that.
They apparently don't hurt.
No, it's exciting. That's all exciting to me. Joining my life.
So you've been convinced. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing your story with us.
Ken.
And I bet you might see something tonight because you're in the desert.
Yes.
We have time for one more brief call if we have anyone else. Thanks, Lauren. Now, here we go.
I'll do it too if you got another one.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Desert Oracle Radio. Thanks for calling in. What's your name, sir?
My name is Josh.
Josh.
I've lived out here 13 years now, and I've seen a bunch of things actually over the years. I moved to the desert in '83. The weirdest thing I've ever seen was when I was 11 years old. I had some nautical binoculars that were massive that belonged to my grandfather, and I was scanning the skyline of the San Jacinto Mountains one lazy, boring day, and it was broad daylight, and in the forest of the mountains, I saw a building. It was just a cube-shaped building, like a cinder block building that had lightning bolts coming off of it.
What?
Yeah.
A physical building attached to the ground.
Yeah.
It had lightning, like the tower of
Like
the
a
car
Tesla,
attack.
like a Tesla coil.
Like a Tesla thing. What did you do when you saw this?
I rubbed my eyes like a cartoon character and looked again.
And it was still there.
It was still there.
Could you approach it? Could you
No,
get near it?
it was miles away. I was in Ranch Mirage in a country club, and I'm looking probably 20 miles away with these binoculars. These binoculars, I was 11, so I was about this tall. These binoculars were this big.
This must have been a very opulent childhood.
I'm sorry, what? What? Connection. What did you say?
All the lines are bad here.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about the country club and the giant fancy binoculars and everything. And you look through these binoculars from what sounds like a sane environment where people were just going about their business.
The low desert is Melrose Place meets Sleepy Hollow meets Mayberry. Yeah.
And this was daytime, so all the adults must have been kind of about half mimosa'd out. And
Yeah.
so through these high-powered binoculars, tell us what you saw.
Well, okay, so there was trees, it was forest up there, and I just saw a clearing, and there was this building that was, I couldn't gauge the size of it. It wasn't, it was probably like a 2-story building, I'm guessing. I mean, I was 11, so, but there were lightning bolts coming out of it, just around the building. It was really bizarre. I don't know what I was looking at. I don't know what I saw.
How long did it last? Was it still there when you stopped looking at it, or?
Yeah, I kind of gawked at it for a few minutes and then got bored. So there was nothing I could do about it, really. I was alone, so I couldn't
So they just dropped you off at a country club.
Yeah, well, actually, this is where I lived.
Okay. So there's houses around golf courses and that kind of thing.
Well, there was no golf course. It was a low-end country club. There was no clubhouse. Well, there was a clubhouse, but
They have like pinball machines out back? Or?
no, it was just a really modest place. You know, it was just it wasn't even gated actually, but yeah, it wasn't fancy.
You know, I live in a country club, it turns out.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have a
Country
car.
club living, you know, I recommend it.
Do you ever see anything like that ever again?
No, never again. But maybe over the years I've thought about all the BLM land that is, pretty much uncharted,
Well, we're gonna have to let it go. But I'd love to hear some more about this. Have you ever found pictures of it online? Something similar?
No.
All right.
But let me tell you something that happened here in Joshua Tree. One night about 1 in the morning.
I got about 30 seconds after we wrap it up.
All right. A convoy of SUVs, they're police vehicles, followed by Humvees with 50 caliber machine guns with soldiers at the ready, followed by a semi-truck with a huge wooden crate, and that's all. They're guarding a wooden crate. It was a massive wooden crate. It was like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like, what's this wooden box? What's so special about this wooden box?
That's the box where they keep that building with the lightning bolts in it. Thank you so much for calling in. I have to let you go, and I got to say goodnight to all of you all. Thank you, sir. Thanks to RedBlueBlackSilver for Soundscapes. Thanks to the group Kokomo for performing tonight. Thanks to all of our callers. Thanks to Stephanie Pizza and Paul Collum and Bobby First for letting us put this event together. Thanks to Joe for doing the sound. Thanks to all of you for coming up here and spend the evening with us. We enjoyed it a lot, and I think we might do it again because I've got my whole office set up now, and I think I could just leave it, here. On Halloween, we're going to do campfire stories at Ace Hotel in Palm Springs. Scary stories around a real campfire. Thursday, October 31st. That's free. They have a bar. They have a diner. If you're hungry, a waiter will bring you tuna milk or whatever. It's a fun night out. Next Saturday, we're going to be in Wonder Valley at the Wonder Valley Community Center doing weird Wonder Valley stories, of which there are many. There are many being committed right now, in fact. And then right after that, the Palms is going to have their Halloween party, Monster Bash. You have to wear a costume, so they say, but I think it's going to be loosely enforced. And then Thursdays throughout the fall, winter, and spring, once a month at the Ace doing campfire stories. And when you're driving home, turn on Z107. You're going to hear the live show that we're going to go do at 10 o'clock tonight. Thank you very much, and good night from the voice of the desert.